Before you scroll away, let me ask you something. What if the person you overlook every day turns out to be the one who saves your entire world? Stay with this story until the very end, because the last scene changes everything. And if stories that touch the heart and restore faith in humanity mean something to you, tap like, subscribe to the channel, and become part of this growing family. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Everyone in the glass and steel headquarters of Ardent Global knew Amelia Rhodes. She was the youngest female CEO in the company's history, sharp-eyed, composed, and seemingly carved from discipline itself. Business magazines called her the Ice Crown, a woman who turned struggling companies into empires. But what no headline ever mentioned was how lonely the top floor was, or how silence followed her home every night. Success had given her everything except someone who saw her as more than a title. Ethan Cole was invisible. At least, that's how the world treated him. He pushed a janitor's cart through the same hallways where billion-dollar deals were whispered. He scrubbed floors long after executives left, nodding politely when people barely noticed him. He wore simple clothes, spoke little, and never complained. No one knew that the calm in his eyes had been forged in war zones, or that his steady hands once commanded elite special forces units in missions erased from public record. Their first real conversation happened by accident. Amelia had stayed late after a brutal board meeting, one that questioned her leadership and hinted she was replaceable. When she stepped into the hallway, she slipped on a freshly mopped floor and would have fallen hard if not for Ethan's arm catching her with quiet precision. For a moment, she looked into his eyes and felt something unfamiliar: safety. He apologized, though it wasn't his fault, and she surprised herself by laughing, a real laugh she hadn't heard from her own throat in years. From that night on, they spoke more. Small conversations at first, coffee shared from a break room machine, words about weather, work, exhaustion. Ethan listened more than he spoke, and when he did speak, his words carried an unexpected depth. He never asked about her wealth or power. He asked if she slept well, if she was happy, questions no one else dared to ask. Amelia found herself waiting for those quiet moments more than she waited for board approvals. With Ethan, she didn't have to perform. She could be human. One evening, after a long charity gala where she felt like an exhibit, she found him cleaning the lobby. She sat on the steps in her designer gown and cried without explanation. Ethan said nothing. He simply sat nearby, present, grounded. That night, something unbreakable formed between them. When rumors began about the CEO spending time with a janitor, Amelia didn't deny them. In fact, she shocked everyone by confirming them. The board was furious. Her friends were confused. Social media was cruel. A phase, they said. A mistake. But Amelia had never been more certain of anything. When Ethan proposed with a simple ring and trembling hands, she said yes without hesitation. Their marriage was small. No press, no executives, just a few witnesses and a promise spoken from the heart. But the world didn't leave them alone. The board issued an ultimatum: distance yourself from him, or step down. Amelia chose love. She resigned, walking away from the empire she built, believing peace was worth more than power. Life became simpler. They moved into a modest home. Amelia learned to cook. Ethan learned to laugh more. For the first time, Amelia slept through the night. But peace is fragile, and the past has a way of returning. One afternoon, a group of armed men attempted a home invasion, targeting Amelia, kidnapping for ransom. What happened next shattered every assumption she had ever made. Ethan moved like a force of nature. Calm, precise, deadly without being cruel. He disarmed the attackers, protected Amelia, and restrained them until authorities arrived. The man she married was no janitor in that moment. He was a commander. When the truth came out, it came fast. Former elite special forces, decorated, feared, retired after losing his entire unit in an operation gone wrong. He had chosen anonymity, penance, and a quiet life to escape the ghosts that followed him. Being a janitor wasn't a fall, it was a refuge. Amelia didn't feel betrayed. She felt humbled. She understood now why he listened so well, why he stayed calm, why he never chased recognition. He had already lived a lifetime of intensity and loss. He just wanted peace. The media exploded when the story leaked. The CEO who married a janitor. The janitor who was a war legend. Offers poured in for interviews, books, movies. Ethan refused them all. Amelia stood beside him, shielding his privacy the way he once shielded her life. In time, Amelia was asked to return, not as a CEO chasing profit, but as a leader shaping ethics and humanity in business. She accepted on her terms. Ethan opened a foundation for veterans who struggled to re-enter civilian life, giving them dignity through honest work and quiet support. They never became flashy. They became real. Their home filled with laughter, purpose, and service. And whenever Amelia passed a janitor in the hallway, she met their eyes and said thank you, knowing better than anyone that greatness often wears the simplest clothes. The lesson is simple but powerful. Never measure a soul by their uniform, their title, or their paycheck. Love sees what the world overlooks. Strength hides in humility. And sometimes, the person who cleans the floor beneath your feet is the one strong enough to carry your heart. If this story moved you, inspired you, or reminded you to see people differently, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this don't just entertain, they change how we look at the world. And the next story might just change you.